Hello all. Hopefully I get my light source there. Good. That's better. Wait for people to log on. I tagged Jefferson Glapski here. I hope he logs on to my live because I have a really important forum I'm doing here that I'm hosting, and it's relevant. I don't know why my light. I hope that doesn't happen on my. There, that looks better. Hopefully I won't move too much, but certain parts of the day I notice. Yikes, I'm going to try and mess with that. Hey, Jefferson, if you're there, just say hello so I know you're there. Because this is really important. Hopefully he logs on here. I have a live forum, everybody, via Zoom. I'm hosting it. And it's for some African nations here. That it's really important because South Africa is the sitting president of the United Nations Security Council this month, December. Massive important. I hope this isn't my situation in lighting here. Man, oh man. I don't know if Jefferson's on there. I hope he shows up. I tagged him. Everybody's coming on waiting for me. Oh well, I'm going to get on with it. Whether Jefferson shows up or not, I hope he does. Or at least review it after. But Jefferson Glapski, everybody, he's a financial wizard. And I think that's his career. We've had many debates over banking, and he's all into private institutions, which is fine, right? We see all kinds of banks do that. In the history of Canada's history, we've seen all kinds of provinces with private banks or their own incorporated banks try to have their own dollar and monetary systems. They've all absolutely been a failure. A public institution is taking all the people, we the people, and that becomes your institution. It often does very well comparatively to private banks. As we know, us, the public, always ends up bailing them out because they're not accountable, really. And, you know, when you take a mass group of people together, of course, our wealth and power is going to be a lot larger. But I want to get into the history of Canada here and what a lot of people don't understand. And if you're a financial expert, this is absolutely imperative for you. So the Bank of England regulated Canada through our colonization history, well into Canada even being a country. We didn't formulate any of our own banking institutions. A few provinces tried that, even created their own dollar. But really, the upper lower Canada, we had the Bank of Montreal at one point have their own system, but they all ultimately failed. But what happened is we had the Bank of England all the way up to the 30s, and at the same time, only one province with a party went to fight for a crown corporate bank against the Bank of England, against Her Majesty, who was the colonial power absolutely in our Constitution over our country. We ratified that in our Constitution. Well, there was a League of Nations, the Empire of Britain, who was the world power. And unfortunately for Canada, that meant us under thumb. And even though we have a constitution, it was made in 1867 when we were still a colonial country of England, of Great Britain. That's the reality. And we've never changed our constitution, which is what I'm fighting for right now. I'm glad I actually did this live because I don't like the lighting now. I'm stressing out a bit. I don't like this time of day or whatever's going on here. This is bad, but I kind of am subject to Africa, everybody. It's time zones. Oh man, this really sucks. Why is that doing that? This is going to happen on my Zoom. It's really going to mess it up. Anyhow, yeah, look at that. Why the heck is this dimming back and forth? There's certain times of the days this doesn't work out well. Anyhow, what's happened is our Constitution of 1867, made during colonization, which we went through. England ran the League of Nations. They were the founding nation of that. France, Italy, and Japan. Just like the UN, UNSC. What happened is we hit World War II. That ended. Post-World War II, USA was the major power. Now they added United Kingdom, meaning a league of 5 nations called the United Kingdom. But Great Britain as a superpower was no more. They were 5 countries together, really weakened after World War II, lost that world status. USA granted them Russia, China, and France world powers with them. But absolutely most of it was established now from 1948 onward by the entire world to decolonize. And the King of England absolutely gave up all powers over Canada in 1948. Had to agree to that to become a UN power. Or you know what? The Allies would have said bye-bye, and they didn't want that, so they agreed. And they absolutely agreed to decolonization worldwide, meaning everywhere. The age of empires, the age of colonialism, and the new age of individual sovereign UN states began with a whole new set of rules to never allow any kind of world war, never to allow a nation like Germany to rise up. Only 5 powers in this entire world now have the authority, have the nuclear might, and the militaries worldwide to administer. Jesus, this is really bugging me. Now I'm upset. Now I'm going to stress out about my Zoom. I won't continue this too long, but I definitely don't like my lighting going in and out. Man, this is going to really bug me now. Anyhow, that's what happened here, and this is what I'm fighting right now, and I'm taking Canada on. The problem is, since 1948, yes, colonial power is gone. However, a constitution was written during colonial era, and all the provisions of all of that crown power are still absolutely in there and have never been amended or what is called dismemberment from our Constitution at any points in our history, including 1982. So unfortunately, even our Supreme Court, who is in charge of... Oh, look at that lighting. This is really going to bother me. Arr. So, since 1948, because of that 1867 Constitution, man, look at that. Oh, this is really sucks. How could this be on a part of the day? Ruined my whole Zoom, I bet. Anyhow, try not to get hijacked again. Since 1948 and onward, Canada is stuck with a 1967 Constitution of colonialism. Now, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth and her entire royal family have no authority over that whatsoever, but the Constitution's written that that power exists. Our Prime Minister and all of our provincial premiers have absolute power to pick up the crown according to the Constitution and place themselves king or queen, depending on if it's an elected male or female, at any time and administer those crown powers against each and every one of us. Now, that's illegal in this world today. It has been since 1948, but nobody in the history of Canada has ever thought to go to the United Nations Security Council or the General Assembly and present a case against Canada for such that. And as UN citizen, which we all are in Canada, we are a UN state, any one of us can do that. I've spent 6 months with the world's top academics getting international law, comparative law, constitutional law mastered. I'm not a lawyer, but I've had the great fortune of having the greatest academic constitutional lawyers in the entire world to aid and assist me in my growth and learning. So I'm very schooled. I believe I am anyway. A lot have really helped me and assisted me to get there. I've just grown leaps and bounds. And today I'm giving a presentation to 2 African nations, one of which holds the presidency of the UN Security Council. And if they push it forward and assist me, it will go to that UNSC, and we will determine that. Now, I have a pile of evidence showing just this year alone, a lot of you for the gun bill C-71, I have absolutely order in council. I have it clearly, as it's published on our websites, Justin Trudeau enacting order in council, using that crown power, putting it on his head in the name of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. However, she never ever gave any powers of that because that power hasn't existed since 1948. Justin Trudeau is crowning himself king to administer Bill C-71, which is taking away all your gun rights. He did that without ever publishing who drafted the legislation, even though the whole world thinks that you elect your House, your federal House representatives, MPs, and they are the legislators who draft legislation. Well, Justin Trudeau said, I don't want to lose the next election, and I don't want my MPs to get in trouble with the people because this is extremely controversial. Now, he's not the only one. Stephen Harper has done too, just like his deal with FIPA and Communist China. That was an order in council. That way, you don't have a list of MPs who actually design the legislation. It's been done as a crown power, pretending that Her Majesty the Queen's Privy Council did it, but what that really means is that Prime Minister of the time, including right now with Bill C-71, Justin Trudeau made himself King of Canada with that crown power, which is illegal worldwide, said, sorry, Canadians, across every province, I'm not going to let your elected legislators have any say, and you're not going to know who I've chosen from the lifetime of every single appointed Privy Council member. Goes right through our history. If they're alive today, Justin Trudeau can use any one of them in secret. Anyone who is partial to his bill, they legislate it without any knowledge from any of you, even though you may have thrown them out of office from your EDA. You might have thrown them out 10, 12, 15, 20 years ago and said, this person has to go. But Justin Trudeau says, but I get to go back to them anytime I want because now I'm King of Canada. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make this legislation secretly without any knowledge from any of you. And yes, then it'll go through House, but you won't be able to hold anyone to account because I'm King of Canada. I'm using colonial power from 1867 that is illegal worldwide in the United Nations today since 1948. The King of England, Queen Elizabeth, before Queen Elizabeth II, George, he passed away, but he had ratified that for Canada in 1948. And upon Queen Elizabeth II ascending, she outlawed no more Governor General, Lieutenant Governor could ever be pushed forward by England. No way. No crown power. But that hasn't stopped Canada from continually to appoint as picking up the crown and putting it on their head. Prime ministers do that. And when you get a premier who, like Jason Kenney right now, who is on the Privy Council, can absolutely create and draft bills, placing in it Lieutenant Governor. I'm presenting that evidence today on Jason Kenney's bills, which, do you know what? All Albertans, he places Lieutenant Governor power in every single bill, giving all the power back to the Crown, which is Justin Trudeau. This is the Laurentian disease that you've elected in the province of Alberta. And I'm going today, just in less than a half an hour, go through all of this with some of the greatest academics in Africa today who are sympathetic, who have fought colonial power, and have actually gone further than any other continent on decolonization as it's binding in legal convention law. Russia's already heard from me. China's already heard from me. And my hope is that I win South Africa today, and also USA, UK, France, Russia, and of course China are going to get it official, laid out in absolute evidence. This is the problem that we're going through in Canada. We all wonder why we're not being heard, where all this legislation and crazy bills come from. This is where it comes from. Justin Trudeau's doing a series of order and councils. Whenever they're afraid of the fallout, they just do order and council. Or if a premier's afraid that his provincial legislature and his MLAs will disappoint you and anger you, He just goes and puts in Lieutenant Governor, giving it right back to King Justin Trudeau. Can you believe that, everybody? That Jason Kenney has enacted so much legislation, literally 50 bills in just this year, that all give authority to Lieutenant Governor, who could amend any of your bills and do anything to you and take it right back to King Justin Trudeau and say, Justin, I got the crown, put it on your head. Yes, I will. I want you to run this bill for Canada. Thank you. And he will. That's the law. This is the laws Jason Kenney has put into place against all of you. And it is what I'm going to show the UNSC. It is what you're all going to see, that you signed that piece of paper, well, you put your name forward to go on that registered letter, that registered email. And this, in more detail, is going to be the presentation in now 27 minutes. When we get into banking, we absolutely need the ATB. At the same time, the Bank of Canada, it took 3 years. Brave William Aberhart, our 7th Premier of Alberta, he fought this tooth and nail against England, against the Crown, against Federal Laurentian, Ottawa, Upper and Lower Canada, a school teacher. He figured this out back in the 30s. He fought so very hard for all of you, and they literally killed Albertans through starvation, through financial oppression, to the likes of which no region in the world ever experienced. And Aberhart fought back. It was United Farmers before that. They had won resource rights, but because of our Constitution and this Crown power, because of Section 91, Albertans, you can never get control of federal taxation. They have a way and a power embedded in the Constitution of always taking that from you. Even when you get crafty and you create something, they're legally entitled to create something by any means necessary to usurp it. Where do you think equalization came from? That was in response to the United Farmers' successful winning of just getting an equality on resources for the province of Alberta that every other province already had. But Alberta was told, you don't get it. We've always been a less people. We are the Jews of Germany in that period of Nazism. We've always been there in Canada. We've always been there. And they absolutely starved, oppressed, and abused you as a less of a human being, just like First Nations. It's a human rights violation. But nobody has brought it to the attention of the UN. That's reality. Even Palestine was quick to put it. Whether it's not about Israel, Palestine, it's the fact that any of these regions or territories, and there's many who haven't done anything about it, and they don't exist today. They've been taken by another UN country because nobody went ahead and went to that UN and said, hey, over here we exist. What Canada does to Alberta, devaluing us in Senate, in Congress, in House, I'm getting into my U.S. side now, but in our House of Representatives and our Senate representation, Alberta is absolutely the least valued Canadian in all of Canada by a large margin. There are some variations here and there, but when you add it all together, we are on average worth half a Canadian. Half a Canadian. That's awful. And First Nations, it's even worse than that. But the reality is, we can highlight this on the world stage, which is my hope, as I was fortunate to do with Donald Trump a year ago this time, right before the 2019 election. I was able to get that letter there. Now, Canadian media says, oh no, they only heard from David Suzuki. This time I've gone over 200, and I don't think, I don't know. It's Canadian media. Maybe they're going to lie about it. But I think today, if we win South Africa, if I can get that to the president of the UNSC this month, we are definitely going to be heard, everybody. Russia's already heard, and so is China. So I believe if they do this for us in now 23 minutes, we're going to be okay. And I got to go get changed and put on my suit. But realize this is reality. Now, I hope you share it. I'm sorry about the video fading in and out. It's that time of the day, but it looks like I found my place with lighting right here. So it's good I did this. It's a good trial run, and I'm very nervous, but it's going to be okay. I have faith. It's 50-50. I'm going to win this, and we're going to get this done, and we're going to get out on the UNSC, and we're going to pull Justin Trudeau and Jason Kenney's pants down for the entire world, and we're going to show them what is going on right here in Canada that's been going on since 1867. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Wish me luck. Power to the people. Bye now.